Hello, friends, and welcome to another edition of the TV is Our Real Mom podcast. I'm your host, Dave, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, my sister, Katie. Katie, what's happening today?
Not much, just finally getting to talk some alone. We missed last week because of the holiday and all that, but uh, we still only lost one person, so we really only have to talk about one person departing. And then we finally got to see two people who we hadn't seen yet, so we can just kind of catch up with everybody, I think.
Yeah, what do you have to say for yourself, Katie? I mean, like, where have you been?
Where have
What's
I
going
been?
on?
I've
Yeah.
been. Where haven't I been? No, I went to Grand Forks with hang out with you guys for the 4th of July, and we just ate a bunch of steak and watched a bunch of movies, and now we didn't feel like podcasting.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it.
Yeah,
And we've just been behind this whole season, so
kind of. Yeah, it's
par
really hard because my weekend is just crazy, and I don't have the best time to podcast. For most people, would be on the weekend, but I
especially
can't.
after like a Thursday night show,
Yeah,
for
it's on a
Friday,
bad
Saturday.
night. If it was on Wednesday night, no problem, but it has to be on Thursday night, so it's tricky to find
No, I mean
the
that's a good
time
night
to
for
talk
me.
about it.
Like, cause I could podcast Friday or Saturday, but
Right.
you have a crazy weekend,
Yeah,
right?
I
So
literally work 12 hours on Fridays, and Saturdays aren't much better, and so it's just really hard to find the time.
yeah, it's okay. So here we are, finally ready to talk about Alone. So we've missed season 5, episode 3, and episode 4. So what do you want to talk about first?
Well, maybe, excuse me, what we should talk about first is the departure of Nicole. She's the only person we lost in these two episodes, although a few others are struggling. But were you surprised that her MS took her out, where in season 3 it didn't even seem like I forgot it was a thing?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't surprised because the this that's kind of been the trend this season is like they're giving everything away in the previews.
I hope next week's preview is not giving stuff away, but
But
yes.
that's, I mean, if the rest of the season is any indication, that's probably what's going to happen. But anyways, yeah, they kind of gave away that it was pretty obvious that Nicole was going to be the one going home.
She
Um,
couldn't move her legs.
yeah, but I am surprised, like overall, because I wasn't expecting, like you said, she did such a good job last time, and none of that
Mm-hmm.
stuff seemed to affect her at all. Maybe it's because she couldn't get the same herbs and stuff that she was getting out in, where was she, Alaska? I don't remember.
Vancouver Island. That's what I was
Vancouver Island.
thinking. Like, Vancouver Island's like such a lush, like,
Yeah, it's a lot more lush than Mongolia, it seems
yeah.
like. Yeah.
So maybe she just was struggling. And the
Yeah.
heat, I know that climate's different, and I don't know a lot about MS, so I can't really speak about it. But I imagine climate plays a role in a disease like that.
Yeah. And honestly, like with a disease like that, when you feel the slightest onset of symptoms, it's got to be hard to psychologically get out of that rut.
Yep.
Like, I can't imagine even if like she wasn't having an MS attack, she would be able to come back from just that snowball effect of when you start worrying about your health. Like it happens to everyone, I think, and
Mhm.
it would be really tough out there to not just go into a complete breakdown, whether it's physical or psychological. This seemed definitely physical. I'm not saying it wasn't, just saying.
Right. But that's what I thought. Like, you could see, like, as soon as she sensed the very beginnings of it, it probably sent her mind back to like being in a wheelchair, being bedridden like she had been in the past, and you could tell she was trying to like be happy about it. She was going about her work, she was being calm about it, but I mean, physically you can't fight that off. But yeah, the psychological, I've never experienced anything on that level, but like, say I've gotten a stress fracture in my leg before, and like the minute you feel something similar, you're like, "Oh shit, what's happening?" You know,
Right, right.
not the
It's
same
like,
level, but
no, yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. It's like you
yeah,
recognize those similar symptoms and it brings you back to when you had an
yep,
attack or something. So then you're already just in a panic mode,
yep.
And I can't imagine that helped matters. I'm sure that's what part of what she was going through. So that sucks for her. I feel really bad. I also had her placed really high on
So did I.
my
I had a
picks. I
really,
had her
really
at
high.
third, which was stupid because
I
really in the
had her
first
second.
there was so many reasons to not do that. Like,
Like
I
what
mean,
though? She did so well her first time out.
I mean, well, my instincts were telling me that she was gonna get pulled for family reasons again. So I should have just listened to that, even though it wasn't the reason. There was that the family thing. There was MS, and there was also the fact that like not everyone in the first episode is gonna do good. And why did I think she would do good and Sam would do good and Dave would do good, or so it was like I don't even know if Dave was in the first episode, but was
I
he?
don't think so.
Yeah,
No.
okay. But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I
It
know
was
what you're
just a
saying.
bad decision. But
That's
I
what we
feel
do. We do it with Survivor too.
yeah, I mean, we're not good at predicting things. We
We
like to
want to
think we
go
are.
against our guts, or like you just have to listen to, even if it's cliche or
Yeah, sometimes the cliche
pedestrian, you got to
obvious
go with it.
thing. Yeah, like
Yeah.
Wendell in Survivor last season.
Yeah.
It was so obvious. It was staring you right in the face. I mean, that was
Yeah.
my winner pick before the season aired or before anything aired. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't go with that. Yet that's who
Yeah,
it
because
was.
you want to go against it. Yeah, I've got Randy and Britt at the bottom of my list, and I feel like they're going to be the last ones standing. Maybe Brooke, too.
Yeah, so we didn't see Randy until episode 3. What are your thoughts on Randy?
I feel bad for talking so much crap about him because he's impressive. I mean, I know our sister Cassie hates him, and I gave him shit for his Sweat Lodge stuff last time he was on. But I love how they have such an eclectic mix of people. You can't have a wilderness survival show without the crazy hippie guy. You have to have that guy, and we have him. So and he's doing a very good job. His shelter is insane.
Yeah, I mean, he is absolutely crushing it. There's no
Mm-hmm.
way around it. Like,
No,
and
he's
this
not
is
in
the
any danger.
well, this is the kind of thing like I've wanted to see on Alone, and we
Mm-hmm.
rarely get this where someone is
Mm-hmm.
thriving to this degree because it's really
Mm-hmm.
fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Like any normal survivor show or survival show,
Mm-hmm.
someone can, go on and do this stuff, but normally they have a lot more resources and a lot more help. But to
Mm-hmm.
see someone like Randy get dropped alone in the middle of Mongolia and do what he's doing right now is freaking sweet to watch, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's sweet to see such an awesome cabin, and somehow he still has the energy to. He doesn't seem like he's totally bushed yet, so
He's
it's
a
pretty cool.
big guy. I forgot. I thought he was like this tiny wiener guy. No, he's like a big guy.
Well, I think
And
he's put on some weight too. I think,
maybe
yeah, he's put on some muscle too. I'm sure he's out like
he's a
chopping wood or.
rugby player.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Hmm. Interesting.
those guys are big.
Yeah,
But
you can see it.
yeah, he doesn't seem to be hurting in any way. He is fine. I'd say he's doing the best of anyone. But then on the opposite end, you have someone like Britt who he talks about how he's like, this is just a hobby. He doesn't like do it that much. And so he's, what did he call it? He had a word for it, but I thought it was funny comparing the two and how they both did not that great their first seasons, but they seem to be just kind of finding ways to thrive. Whereas almost everybody else, I feel, is struggling a little bit. Brooke, we haven't seen her struggle. She always just seems like she's kind of sitting in her tent, but she seems fine. But I just like the opposite end of the spectrum that Britt and Randy might be on, but they're still both doing really well. Oh, hello. I thought you were just staring at me, but you were frozen. Crap. Hello? David.
Oh my God, are we live?
Sorry.
No, my computer crashed.
It did? Well, that was
Yeah.
fast for it to come back.
Yeah. So it looks like we're still alive, right?
Yeah.
Did you
Sorry
keep
about that.
did you keep the people entertained while I was gone?
I thought we were done. I was just silent. I thought you were
Oh.
just staring at me. like your eyes were frozen, like you were staring at me, and I thought you just didn't like what I was saying, but then I realized that you were frozen.
Oh my God.
So I didn't really keep talking, so I'm sorry. I was
Okay. Well,
confused.
anyways, yeah, we're still going. So where were we? I don't remember.
I was just saying that I like how Britt and Randy are such opposite survivalists, but they're both doing really well, and I like that.
Right. Yeah, Britt is like kind of I just feel like he's a different person this time around.
I
I
know.
don't know. Like
He's
he just
funny.
he just got a good attitude.
Yeah.
Like that's one of the I don't think you get a lot from Britt in episode 4, but
Mm-hmm.
what you do get is him basically saying like shit's not going my way right now,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not going to give up or something like that. I don't remember
Yeah, he's
exactly.
gonna change his tactics. Because he missed, what did he almost got a deer. That's right. He was trying to get that deer in the water, and I was secretly happy when he didn't get it, even though I wanted him to do well. But I just feel sad when they kill the deer. I'm like Dave. I don't like the hunting stuff.
Well, Ted Nugent was on Joe Rogan,
Oh,
and
God.
you know all about Ted Nugent.
Yeah.
But I mean, he makes a good point. He's like, "What'd you eat for dinner today?
No, I know.
Your
And his,
meat comes from death of animals, and you eat it. So
I'm
the
not so sure the
it's
taco meat from Taco John's is a real animal, but
that's also a good argument. But I'm just saying, like, Britt was gonna eat that, and you know, the meat you eat meat, you commit that crime every day by eating it. You are contributing to that
I
system.
understand that. I've
Yeah.
always understood it. I've always just also at the same time had trouble watching the process. And if I had to do it myself, I probably would be a vegetarian.
Right, right. Yep. I just thought it was worth mentioning again. Just
Yes.
worth drilling that in.
It's,
Thought I'd get that in there.
I understand. I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I just don't, we saw a lot of animal death on that episode, and I didn't want to see a deer die. It was like too much, but I would have been happy for him if he'd have gotten it,
Yeah, it would have been good for him.
Yes, very good for him.
He needed to eat.
I liked his daisies and how he was like, "Yeah, I got daisies. What are you gonna do about it?"
Yeah, I mean, he's getting that sense of humor. I don't know if like he's been listening to our podcast, but
yeah, maybe he did.
we've always said, like the winner has a great sense of humor, so that's a key component. So
Keep forgetting that. We drive that home, and yet I keep forgetting it. Would you say no? Larry's probably the funniest one, but Britt's probably
the problem with Larry is he's not
trying to be funny.
He's not trying to be funny. He's angry, and we're laughing at him for his absurd
you're
anger.
right. He's like the opposite. Like he doesn't use humor to cope. He uses anger, and we find that funny.
Exactly.
It's like the opposite thing. You're right. So I guess Britt might be the one using humor the best.
Right. He is intentionally using humor to bring levity to how he feels about situations. Mm-hmm. And that is like the most valuable tool in survival. And it's something that human beings use day to day in our normal societal lives as well. Mm-hmm. We all use a sense of humor to get us through the day. Mm-hmm. So I think that's why it's a valuable tool. It just keeps you from taking everything too seriously, even though you need to take things seriously out there. It's very interesting how effective that is for people out there.
It seems to be working for him. And maybe he just he always seemed a little bit preoccupied in his first season. So maybe he's just let that go a little bit and decided to have fun. And because he's watched in the past how that has worked for people. Although the Baird brothers did yell at each other quite a bit, which I also found funny, but they also intentionally use humor.
Yeah, I mean, they liked to joke around. So they were like this weird mix of that levity and Larry style.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So yeah, I like where Britt's at. I really like where Randy's at. Everyone else, I'm a little concerned about. Brooke seems to be doing well. I am concerned. The only thing they ever show with Brooke is her fireplace.
Yeah.
Like,
and every time
I'm
like, it doesn't seem like a good idea. It's like her fire is in the corner of her shelter, like under some like a grass roof or something, or a roof made of leaves. And I'm like, this doesn't look good.
I just feel like it's gonna burn down.
It very well could. Did did they start theirs? Didn't they have their old shelters? They got it started on fire.
Pretty sure it was them, yes. Not 100% sure, but I feel like that's true.
Yeah, that rings a bell. I could be
I
wrong
know.
about that,
Yeah,
but
no. Well, they were able to survive it though.
right. I'm just saying it seems like if you experienced that once before, you'd be a lot more careful about the fire in the shelter. But maybe it's like so essential to getting through, like
Mhm,
you have to do it. You have to take that risk because I
mhm.
think does Randy has a fire inside as well,
He's
doesn't
got
he?
a freaking stone ass chimney.
Yeah, he made a chimney. I mean,
Yes,
he freaking lugged all those logs around, and then he had the energy to carry giant boulders to make a chimney. I mean, what the hell? What?
clay, just bags of clay.
I wonder if he just ate like just a ton of McDonald's before he went out there, or like
He's
like
just living off his reserves and
he had
just.
like 5 number 2s from McDonald's right before he got on the helicopter.
I'm not sure
He's
how
just ready to
smart
go.
that is, but because you probably would have crapped it all out as soon as he got
Yeah,
there.
instant dehydration. Yeah,
Yeah, so probably not the way to go. But eating
yeah,
a lot of good, healthy protein and stuff, maybe.
yeah. Maybe he ate like 15 steaks before he got on the plane,
15 T-bone steaks.
like the ones we had on the 4th of July
Oh man, they were so good.
that we almost burnt because we suck at grilling.
Hey,
But
mine was delicious, so it was
it was
fine.
it turned out fine. We
Yeah,
caught him in time. Yep.
thankfully.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyways,
So yeah, I feel like they don't ever show Brooke doing anything else other than working on her fireplace. So I don't know what to make of it other than edit wise thinking this fireplace will be her doom.
right. They showed her a lot during that storm. I mean,
They showed everybody. Like I was confused at first they were only showing a couple people, but then they literally showed everyone.
but nobody tapped out.
No.
So
I thought, wow, this storm maybe it'll take 3 people out or something, but
we had a pretty crazy storm here on Sunday that with 80-mile-an-hour winds and ripped trees out of their like roots, man. Like it was freaking scary. Woke me up at 5 a.m. I'm looking outside and like just
hurricane season.
branches are flying and shit. It was
Oh my
crazy.
god.
Yeah.
We
Yeah, it
had
was
one of those
crazy.
a couple years ago and we like in my apartment complex alone, we lost like 4 or 5 trees. They had to.
Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
Um anyways, Dave, want to talk about Dave?
Dave, do you think his gentle soul is going to take him out of this game?
That's really weird. I wasn't expecting that, but it looks like that's a possibility. I don't know that he would quit the whole thing just because I think the first thing he would do is try to go vegetarian or something, but I don't think he would push himself as close to death's door as he did last time. Um, but yeah, I could see him tapping after he tried to make a go of it vegetarian out there or something. I don't think he would
Okay,
tap.
do you think he's so traumatized from his last season and the fishing part of that that he's just not fishing?
That
Because they don't
no.
show him fishing, they just show him hunting. Like, why doesn't he
Yeah.
fish?
I mean, that's a good question. Like, yeah, why isn't he fishing? Because if he has such a problem, killing animals, like
Mhm.
we all know fish don't have souls. So it's like,
Yeah, so it's
just
easier.
go fishing. But
Yeah.
he's not doing that. I don't know why he's not doing that. I don't think he's traumatized, though. That doesn't make any sense. What do you think?
Well, I was just trying to find a connection. Like, that experience must have traumatized him on some level. And he hoarded fish. Like, there's a connection there.
Maybe
I'm saying?
didn't they show him already trying to fish, or he hasn't tried to fish at all? I don't
He
remember.
might have tried to fish in his first episode, but I don't remember.
Don't remember anything about this season. What the
He's
hell's
had a lot of
happening?
success hunting,
Yeah.
but I don't know why he says, "Oh, I love hunting, but I hate killing animals." But they're the same thing.
Yeah, they're one and the same.
They're literally the same thing.
I mean, pretty much. Although, hunters talk about, it's all about the experience. Like, it's all about the hunt, being out in nature, like tracking the animal.
I
That's
think
just
that's probably lost on someone who's literally
starving.
in nature, no matter what they do. Like they have to be there. So this is something that's not enhancing the experience. They're just trying to eat.
Right. Most hunters, even if they go on a hunting trip, the longest they'll be out there is like a couple
Okay.
weeks. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
And these people are living out there for upwards of 80, 90 days. So
Yeah, and when you're out hunting on a hunt, you can have like beer and sandwiches and stuff. It's not like this is
yeah.
your life. And it's maybe just because he didn't have any success hunting last time. Maybe he's just realizing he doesn't like killing animal after animal after animal.
Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird thing. I wasn't expecting that. I hope he doesn't tap. I don't think he will.
I don't want him to tap for that reason. Just go fishing, Dave.
Hopefully he can kind of come to some sort of sense of like this is the necessary thing when you're in a survival situation, like it's just part of the deal. The
Mm-hmm.
animal, it's part of what it's part of the circle of life.
Mm-hmm.
Animals are eaten, they
Humans
nourish you,
die.
they return to the earth,
Mm-hmm.
all that stuff. I don't know.
It's just interesting that at the beginning of the season, everybody seemed so strong, and we knew these people, and we felt like they had all these strengths, and we've seen so many weaknesses already popping up with everybody. And the people I didn't expect them, and the people I did expect to be weak are surpassing the expectations. So
Yeah, no, that is interesting. Uh, yeah, I think we'll continue to see Randy just keep doing greater and greater things. I think he's at this point. It looks like he's just going to dominate the season,
well,
which
yeah,
is
they didn't
fine.
show him until the third episode. It just makes you think he's just gonna be there.
Which is fine. I hope he does some interesting things along the way. Then, so it's not
Mm-hmm.
like it's not one of those things where he built this awesome cabin and then he just freaking lays in there for
Mm-hmm.
you
We need
know.
to see him have a breakdown because of carrots, like Fowler. Like you can dominate a season, but we need to see you break down a little bit to make it worth it. Because no one's won
Right.
without that. You know, the Bear brothers for a while seemed like they were gonna tap, but then just kept eating those snails or whatever the hell they were and made it through. You need to see some adversity.
Right. Well, one thing we haven't even really talked about is the name of the show itself is Alone. And eventually they haven't been out there long enough for that to start to become the
You're right,
biggest
yeah.
that hasn't become the biggest element of all yet. And
Mm-hmm.
it does get to that point, and that's where we'll get to see what Randy's really made of, because he hasn't been out there longer than like 20, 30 days, whatever he made it.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll get a chance to see, can he, okay, he could be one of those guys that's like, I've done everything I wanted to do out here. I'm
Like
starting to lose it.
Callie.
Yeah, I'm starting to lose it. I'm going to leave now.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I could totally see him being that guy. Hopefully that's not the case, because he has the potential to stay out there for a really long time. So,
Mm-hmm. I feel like Callie and Randy would be really good friends in real life.
yeah, probably. They're both really
Have that
good at.
hippie spirit and just really good at surviving.
So, how do you know Randy's a hippie? I don't know. Is it just the beard? Like, is that
He's,
because he?
it's his whole vibe, man. He's walking around barefoot. He's just got
Well,
the beard, then the braid in his hair. I don't know.
so you,
And his bio, he he takes wilderness groups out and stuff. He just seems like
he strikes you as a hippie.
yeah,
Okay, I can see that.
yeah.
Yeah. Who else? What else? What else is there? Is that it?
Well, we didn't talk. They did show Sam in episode 3. I worry for Sam. He seems like he's in trouble.
He's doing really bad, and he was actually my winner pick.
I don't know if he was my number 1. Well, Larry was my number 1, obviously. But he was high up there. So, but he got that excited over that little baby bird. That's not a good sign. I mean, it's good that he got something, but he can't put that much effort into one of those little birds every few days. That's not gonna cut it.
Yeah, I mean his only chance is that has to be a turning point, and you already see in the preview for next week, it wasn't a turning point. He's still starving.
He's struggling too. Like literally everybody's struggling in the preview for next week.
I thought that was in the preview, wasn't it? That Sam is having a rough time.
Was he the one with the cramps? I thought that was Jesse.
Yeah, that was Jesse, but I thought Sam was starving.
Sam in the preview.
Okay, I'm making shit up now.
Maybe. But he very well could be having the same abdominal cramps that Jesse is, because he has eating a baby tiny bird every few days. That's not enough.
Yeah, it's too bad Jesse is having such terrible cramps after he had a chance to eat a big old fish. and then he
Oh, I
friggin'
know. That was
drops.
so sad.
How could you drop it? I just don't.
You
I
know
don't
what?
understand.
You
It
know what
happens
I
all
was
the time.
what I was thinking the minute he pulled it up and he was holding it loose like that, I was like, dude, grab it with the other hand, grab it with the other hand. And he just let it dangle. And I knew he was going to lose it. And I don't know shit about fishing, but I knew you shouldn't be holding it like that. And he lost it.
No, yeah, you definitely shouldn't be holding it like that. I don't know if this is true for all fish or how dangerous it is depending on where the hook is. But I
Mm,
thought you could stick your two fingers through the gill and
mm-hmm,
up through their mouth.
mm-hmm.
And I think for most fish you can do that. There's some that might be like too sharp and they'll cut you or something.
Oh, wow.
And depending on where the hook is, it might have not been safe to do that. But
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure that's the best way to grab them is you stick your two fingers up through their gill and out their mouth, and you can and there's no way they're coming off of that.
Can't you
Um,
just though, like in that situation, can't you just grab its tail and just kind of steady it until you get up on shore?
that's the other thing I was thinking too. I mean, worst case scenario, I know fish are slippery and it's not easy to hold them, but you
Yeah.
could, in theory, he could have just grabbed the whole thing with both
That's what I
hands
wanted him to do was just
and
clasp.
squeezed as tight as he could. Yeah, and
'Cause I
just
could
or
see it
like even just freaking
hug it.
hug it to your chest like a football, yeah, and just get the hell to
That was a big
shore.
fish. That was a
I
good
mean,
sized fish.
in that situation, I think, like once again, we have to say we're not survival experts, and we
Obviously.
wouldn't have even come close to catching that fish. But
Yeah.
like, you got to imagine you take that so seriously, you're grabbing for that thing. You know,
Yeah. That's why I was surprised.
it was
But maybe
surprising.
he's like delirious from hunger, you know, and he was so like the delirium combined with the elation at actually catching something maybe just made him not think straight. And that it was just a heartbreaker. I feel bad for him. He was
Yeah,
funny with the moose. That
the
made me laugh.
moose. What happened with the moose?
The moose was like doing its mating call all night long, and he kept calling it an asshole and saying that he wanted to hunt the moose, but you can't hunt a moose, I
Oh
guess, in
yeah,
Mongolia.
okay. So who else is in trouble next week then?
Larry's in trouble. Jesse's in trouble. Dave is in trouble with his heart. Not like physically, like his soul and his heart.
Right, right.
You say that Sam's in trouble. I mean, are we going to get a quadruple tap next week? The editors, they can't all be going home next week.
How many would that leave?
Three. That would leave Britt, Brooke, and Randy.
Right, and those three look like they are good to go for a little while. I'd say at least two are tapping next week. Like it's gonna be a double tap.
Do you think it's gonna be Sam and Jesse?
I'm gonna go with Jesse and Larry. No, yeah, I mean, I don't.
What day are they on right now? Isn't it not even day 20?
But he just seems to be having a rough time. I don't know.
Larry?
I feel like he is, and then they show him like pass out next week. So
what did he do this week? Was he struggling this week?
actually, he caught a fish this week, so
Yeah.
that's not bad. He caught something.
Yeah.
I don't know why I think he's struggling.
Well, the preview showed him like doubling over.
Yeah.
And so I don't know.
And they have been spoiling everything in the previews. So if you go off the previews, it's Jesse and Larry.
And Dave, if you want to get emotional about it.
But
people tap for emotional reasons.
I don't think he's going to, though.
That would be a real bummer to lose both those guys. I feel like we haven't gotten to know Jesse enough.
Yeah.
But he seems to be in worse shape than Larry, for sure.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
I don't know.
Anything else?
About anyone?
Yeah.
I guess we've pretty much covered it, haven't we?
Yeah, I mean, it's like I'm not super thrilled with the season so far, to be honest with you.
Why?
Like, I'm getting kind of annoyed with the show's like editing because we watch it with commercials and stuff, and it's ridiculous. Like,
you know what?
Not much happens, and then they show like 10 minutes of commercials, and then like 2 minutes of nothing. There's only a couple. We kind of touched on the more exciting moments in 2 episodes. And that's all you really need to know. I mean, like they really drag it out, you know? Not to be too much of a downer, but that's just how I honestly feel about this season. It's not getting me.
I like this season. And maybe it's because I watch it on the app And literally this last episode, I don't know if it was a glitch or something, but it didn't have commercials at all. Like it just kept playing. The commercial break would come, but then it would just start again.
Yeah,
And
that was
this is,
probably a glitch.
yeah,
This is
because it
awesome.
happens sometimes. But
yeah, I got to be honest. If my experience, my watching experience had no commercials, I think I would be enjoying it a lot more.
maybe
So
you should wait a day and watch it on the app.
well, I think I watch it with mom and dad. So I think what we'll do is we'll just start. They have the DVR or whatever, so we'll just start watching like 20 minutes late, and that way we can fast forward through all the commercials. Because otherwise, I don't think I'll be able to stand the rest of the season. Because
no, I get it.
The commercials are terrible.
The shows on those channels are like that. Like if you watch Deadliest Catch or Naked and Afraid, that's what they all do, and it's obnoxious. And that's why the broadcast, whatever network TV needs to die, except for Survivor. It's
super obnoxious, and I can hardly stand it. Like, it's ruining the show for me.
It does. The flow of the show is completely disrupted, and it also makes them edit it in such a way that they try to put it on a cliffhanger, which is not a cliffhanger. It's just a good place to put a commercial.
Right, and the biggest thing that they do that's a crime is just playing the same thing like 4 times in the same episode. So you have to watch a 10-second clip that is watching the same thing 4 times. It ends up being like a minute of the show is the same clip over and over again, and it's just absurd. So that's enough to kind of piss me off, honestly.
Well, if you watch it on the app, the longest commercial breaks are like 1.5 minutes, and sometimes they're shorter. Sometimes you luck out and they forget to put the commercials in. So it's probably an all-around better experience because I have been enjoying the season. I don't have any problems with it. I think it's just interesting to see these people again.
That's it. That's it for me. Like I'm enjoying seeing the people again that we've already seen, and that's it. What's happened out there, mostly for the most part, completely uninteresting. But
what would be interesting to you?
I don't know. Maybe I am just getting tired of the show for what it is.
Well, there hasn't been a lot of philosophical discussion, and maybe that's because we haven't reached that point in the season yet, like you said, where it becomes more of a mental battle. It's literally just physically surviving at this point. There's been some glimmers of things, like Britt had a little bit this week that I thought was interesting, and Larry's always interesting, and Dave with his problem hunting animals is kind of interesting, but that's probably it.
Yeah, I think you make a good point. I think that is what's missing. We're missing a lot of the heart that was there. Like season 2 was really good with that. Season 1 was really good with that because it was our introduction to this whole concept. And then season 2 really drove that home and really had that emotional appeal. And now that's completely taken out. Like it's just not there. And that's fine for now, but if all it is just boring survival moments, I don't think it's going to be very much fun to watch, especially with all the commercial breaks.
Well, yeah, like season 3 was more the who can not die because it just became so ridiculous that they were out there so long. And season 4 was just weird because of the partner thing. So yeah, I hope it gets to that point soon, and maybe when it gets colder, it'll get there, but you're right. I want to see, we haven't seen anything introspective or emotional really from Randy, not really anything from Brooke. It's mostly just survival at this point. And what makes Alone great is like season 2 when Larry was talking to himself about thinking about how he's an accountant and how 9 to 5, like what does it all mean? Like, what is the point of it? Like that's, to me, listening to Larry talk about that stuff is what Alone is all about. And we haven't had any of that yet. So
right, yeah, and that's just one example of there was a lot more of that in other seasons.
Yes.
So yeah, I don't mean to be a downer, but like that's just my honest. That's just where I'm at with the season right now.
Those damn commercials. Don't help.
So, anyways, I don't think there's much more to say. Anything else you want to add?
No. It looks like next week could be emotional, so maybe don't give up quite yet. Next week in 2 days, the episode on Thursday.
Right, yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready for it.
Me too.
Do you want to predict who's going home? I already did that, didn't I?
You
Do
did.
want
You
to
said
predict?
2 are going home. I say it's just going to be 1. And I say it's going to be Jesse. That's an easy pick. But how do you get over abdominal cramps? That's like you got to go to the hospital if you're that starving.
If they're that bad, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, that'll do it for this episode of the podcast. Thank you guys for listening. You can follow us on Twitter at TV is our real mom. Go
Big
ahead,
Brother
give us.
season. Watch out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So Catie's that's what all her Twitter posts are about then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big Brother stuff. And yeah, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and leave us a comment if you want. And we'll see you guys next time. Have a good one. Peace.